his life experiences, part of which is how he excelled in research. He shared a bit of that with us. And it is on that note that UPM Afrin deemed it necessary to invite Prof to individual met Prof so that he shared that experience with them. But he felt it is better to share it with the larger community like this. So I think that is why Prof is here this evening. But before then, maybe Prof will take your seat. We'll invite one of our brother, Brother Ishaq Abdul Karim, to give us a short presentation from Quran, inshallah, before Prof commences the lecture program.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن.
Thank you, Brother Ishaq. It is brief as we ask him to. Inshallah, without wasting much time, I'm going to introduce to us our guest speaker of the day, Prof, on the topic, research journey, the need for patience and commitment. Most of us, we spend all our time, what are you doing? Research. Where are you going? My research. Today, Prof is going to share his experience with us and what we need to know about research. Prof, you are welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Praise Allah SWT, praise opportunity. The last time I was here was also raining. A lot heavier than this, but alhamdulillah, Allah gave us the chance to be here together again. I was also invited, actually it was last month, but I had a research trip to Japan, so I had to apologize. Alhamdulillah, I'd like to thank Afrin for inviting me again. Maybe we will have a session, sharing session. I don't consider myself to be a scholar. I'm just a learner, just like all of you. Inshallah. We learn min al-mahdi ila al-lahdi, from our cradle, from the cradles to the grave. I always remind myself every day I take this road beside the mosque and the grave. So this will be our last journey. I imagine my last journey will be from the masjid to the grave. So I think the sisters are too far at the back. Maybe you can move to the front. Yeah. Inshallah, I've got only 4 slides. Last time we couldn't finish in time, so can you just distribute this one? When we talk about journey, we have a short time actually until Maghrib. So when we talk about journey, I would like for us to see a much bigger picture of the journey, which we are all in. Right? We are all in the journey. Right? So I managed to get this from the internet. Now it's everything is at the fingertips, right? So this journey couldn't work very well. Use very true. Just allow me to try to fix it if possible. Okay, we are on in the journey, and you can see this from this slide. Before we go to the research journey, I want us to share the much bigger journey we are in, right? So we are, whether you remember it or not, we were in the world of Roh, yeah, Alam Roh. Then we were in the womb of our mothers, 9 months and 10 days approximately. Although we wouldn't remember it, right? And it's interesting because somebody was sharing with me this story, or trying to open up my mind when I was much younger. He said, when we were in the womb of our mothers, we were there, right? Although we can't remember it, of course. But we accepted that as fact because everybody else went through that, right? So we assume that we also went through that. And imagine life in the womb of the mother. What was it like? We just, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to think in the ayah read by Brother Ishaq, also you mentioned about thinking. So we can just reflect. What was it like living in the womb of our mother? It was probably dark. We couldn't see anything. Yeah. We couldn't hear anything, although there's some evidence that we could hear. But anyway, not like what we could hear now. It's very restricted space. We can't move very much. It makes our mothers uncomfortable otherwise. And it's wet. We didn't have to eat because we were being fed, right? Yeah. And imagine when we were there, somebody told us, "You are going to be here just for a short time." Even time does not mean anything to us then, right? Right? Just imagine. So you're going to go in a new world where you can run. What is running? To a fetus? What is running? You will see colors. What is colors? It's all doesn't make sense to the fetus in the womb, right? But what separates the fetus and the world is just a few layers of skin, right? A few layers of skin. That's all that separates us. But we will see. We can imagine what is this world like. But then we are here now. This is real now, here and now. But then Allah says through His Prophet that you are here only for a short while. You're going to go through another world which whatever that you have done here will determine what you will be there. And one day there is equivalent to 50,000 or 100,000 years of this life. So we are just here for just a few seconds. Right? But that is Iman. Whether we believe that we will be in the next world. To other people, they say, oh, when we die, we become living. Everything becomes back to dust. Yes, our physical cage, right? Our physical bodies will go to dust. But we are not just physical beings. Right? We have roh. That's why when in the word of roh, when we were, Allah says in the Quran, when Allah asked us, who is your Rabb? And we say, Qalu Bala, Shahid. So we all accept Allah SWT as our Rabb. So when the Ruh is being breathed into the fetus body after 3 successive 40 days, in the hadith, by Nawawi it says that after the 120th day, the Ruh is being breathed into the womb, into the fetus. So we get the Ruh inside. So we are here now. But this is just a transit. So this is part of the journey. And that journey happens to be a one-way thing. So all of us, I just want to put this in context before we go to the research journey. It's a one-way ticket. Allah says in the Quran also, for those of you who were shaheed, they would wish that they were brought back to life so that they can be shaheed again. Subhanallah. Because of the rewards that they get by being shaheed. Of course, the kuffars will also wish that they will be given a second chance, that they will make amends and so on, right? But this is belief. This is about belief, iman. So I'm always reminded to the grave every time I travel along the road across the mosque. But interestingly, in Akhirah, there's only two destinations. Two final destinations. Heaven or hell? Jannah or Jannah? Of course, we enter heaven due to rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, for every good deed that we do, it's just like we're planting one seed. And for every seed that we plant, the plant will grow into 7 branches. Each branches will produce 100 seeds. And even more. So one good deed that we do, we can get hundreds of hasanat, or hundreds of blessings. And by the way, who are we? We are the physical cage, the body. We have a brain, right? We have qalb, the heart. We have the ruh, and we have nafs. On top of that is 5, right? On top of that, we have shaitan with us, always whispering for us to do bad, right? So we have to use our good discretion based on iman to decide whether we want to do good or bad. And at the same time, we have the angels, Raqib and Atid, who are writing. So I always say we are 5. I always say we are 5 plus. So we should always be aware of this. And every Friday in Malaysia, it is custom to read Yasin. Last night, everybody read Yasin. Although it is actually not a sunnah, but it becomes a norm here. In Yasin, Allah says very clearly, don't follow the footsteps of shaitan. And shaitan is an enemy to you. Why? In the last talk I mentioned about the works of shaitan, right? So we wouldn't go into detail. But anyway, in the end, it's either heaven. One good thing is, during this journey, and especially when we are on earth, this is where we have a choice. Here we do not have a choice. We can't even decide whether we should be a boy or a girl. Even our parents can't decide. Right? Yes. So that's given. But Allah says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. So either you are a Malay or a Chinese or whatever. I'm not sure whether in Africa you also have different race. You do, yeah. So whatever race you are, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The best amongst you in the sight of Allah is the one who have the highest taqwa. It's not who you are, it's how much taqwa you have. Okay. So that is the journey. So when we talk about the research journey, we have to put it over on this. We have to put this on this journey together. So our research journey is just a small component of that. Although I've been in your position before when we have been, I don't know whether I've shared this with you. By the way, I did my PhD twice. Did I share this with you? No. Okay. I did my PhD twice. First in Birmingham. They just gave me an MPhil instead, right? So I failed my final live. So they gave me an MPhil, Masters in Philosophy, rather than a DPhil or Doctor of Philosophy. So So I had to redo my PhD in Japan. I could put all the excuses in the world. I am a good student, I am intelligent, I deserve the PhD. It's my supervisor who is nonsense or at fault or whatever. I can give 1,000 excuses in the world. At the end of the day, of course I was devastated initially. At the end of the day I said, SubhanAllah, Allah hasn't given me the opportunity to get my PhD there. So when I had the opportunity to go to Japan, with no scholarship, it's just an attachment, we had a joint project. So I went to the lab, I told the professor, I said I would like to continue my field. I only went after masters, I want to continue my PhD in this particular field. He told me very simple, he said, Alisan, son is a mister. Alisan, you want to do PhD with me? You have to do in bioplastics. Because that's my area. If you want to do in any other area, go and find any other supervisor. So I have a choice now. I want to do PhD with this supervisor, which was arranged for me already, but in the area that I know nothing about. Or I want to do my field, which I have some knowledge, but I have to choose some other professor, which I don't know who he or she will be. So sometimes in life there are things that you can choose. Sometimes in life there are things that you can't. And sometimes in life you do your best, but Allah decides not to give you what you want. This is a lesson in life. So, to cut the whole story short, I have to start from zero. He gave me another condition. He said, if you want to get your PhD, you must produce 3 papers. You must publish 3 papers. UBM has 2, right? For some of you who entered earlier, there's no requirement, but then from certain time they put the requirement of 2 papers. So I was a bit taken back, because I only published 1 paper from my previous PhD study, which was an MPhil. I only published 1. So he said 3 papers. Oh, I thought it was tough. And then he said, don't worry, Alisan, I will help you. Oh, okay. And alhamdulillah, in the end, from my thesis, we published 5. And Allah arranged that I collaborated with him until today, for 20 years. No. And all my research progress was basically in collaboration with him, Professor. I'll pass this book around. For those of you who want a copy, you are welcome to come to my office. So, alhamdulillah, at the moment we created a lot of impact on our joint research. So this is what I meant by, the certain things that you can control, certain things that you can't. And if you go back to the stories of Noah in the Quran, Prophet Noah, Prophet Ibrahim, Musa, and even Rasulullah, there are many instances where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give. Some of the prophets were actually being slaughtered. Why? Allah knows best. Right? No! He only managed to get 70 followers. Over 900 years of da'wah, only 70 followers. Even his wife and his son didn't follow him. Was that a failure? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say, what have you achieved? Allah asked us, what have you done? What effort have you put in? That is a big consideration. Okay, so, yes. Can you use that? Oh, very good. Okay, I have got only 4 slides, so we have Maghrib is a bit late now. So knowledge, action, and results. So I put the example of a tree because in Al-Quran I can't remember which verse. Allah gave the example of a tree, right? Good deeds. So if you can, you can see here, the roots are not seen, but the roots are the foundation. And some ulama put it as that's the iman. It's unseen, iman is unseen, but that's a strong foundation. If your iman is weak, the tree will soon collapse. Right? So it's just a show. It's not real. Okay? And the fruits are going to be plentiful and big if the plant is well nourished with the right nutrients, with water and so on. Right? And the fruits are the results of our amal. So I said here, Iman and Amal based on knowledge. So later we'll go to research, but I just want to put the premise. The premise. Two types of knowledge. What are the two types of knowledge in Islam? When you see, oh, so many. Huh? We have biology, physics, chemistry, so many kinds of knowledge. But Allah SWT made only two types of knowledge. What are the two types of knowledge? Yes, it's very good. Fardu Ain and Fardu Kifayah, that's a good one. Somebody can be more specific than that? That is two types of fardu, not two types of knowledge. Very good. What you've answered is there? Two kinds of fardu. One is fardu Ain, one is fardu Kifayah, right? I asked the question of what are the two kinds of, two types of knowledge? Yes, what are the two types of knowledge? This is mentioned in Quran and also in Hadith.
Beneficial knowledge and
beneficial and non-beneficial knowledge. Okay? Knowledge that is beneficial and knowledge that is non-beneficial. A lot of the knowledge out there that we get every day, we are in the information era, right? IT era. So we have a lot of information and knowledge, but a lot of the knowledge is non-beneficial. For example, who won the football match? Which team won the football match? Or what was the score last night? Which artist got married to this particular artist? Or where are they going to get a baby? Or who is he or she dating? Non-information, those kind of knowledge are not beneficial. You know, oh, okay. So, and there's a lot of, they did a study in Malaysia. I don't know whether they've done a study in Africa, but in Malaysia they did a study whether Malaysians in general have the habit of reading. Have a habit of reading. So they found out, surprisingly, that Malaysians read quite a lot. Huh, I said, wow, fantastic. I didn't realize that. Then they said, what kind of knowledge what kind of things that they read? They read newspapers, they read all these magazines, all these fashion magazines and so on. Not beneficial. We should develop a habit of getting knowledge that is beneficial. Quran is huda, but guidance, right? But unfortunately, we read Quran, not we here, people outside there. Here we are okay, inshallah. Outside they read Quran as a habit. So when somebody died, when it's Friday night, and so on. Quran is kept on the shelves, very well respected, but never opened. Even when it is open, it is read for barakah. Not for guidance. Allahu Akbar. That is why in Hanafi, I was in England, and in England most of the Muslims have Hanafis. The khutbah for Friday must be in Arabic. They have a bayan, a talk before the khutbah, which is in Urdu or in English or whatever. But the khutbah is 100% in Arabic. Because Rasulullah, of course, used Arabic, and Imam Hanafi says it must be in Arabic. But he made it compulsory for everybody to learn Arabic. They never followed that. They just followed the khutbah should be in Arabic. So here, Shafi'is and so on, they modify it a little bit, must be both combined, right? Because khutbah is meant for tazkirah and so on. People do not understand what's the function of khutbah. Anyway, so based on knowledge, so one kind of knowledge, one type of knowledge is beneficial, the other one is knowledge. So we must differentiate. We must differentiate that the knowledge that we seek should be beneficial knowledge. Well, the other thing is there are 4 levels of knowledge. In UPM, the phrase is with knowledge we serve, right? So UPM only promise knowledge to the students. But there are 4 levels of knowledge. Do you know? I think I've shared this last time. First is data. You do experiments to get data. Right? From data, you get information. So we are now in the information technology, IT. Information is getting graphs. So if you get a data of rainfall every day, then you know whether this is a rainy season or not. So rainy season is information. Right? The data, each of the data is data, you know, data points. And then when you plot the graph, you get a table, that is information. The season is the knowledge. Right? So with all the accumulated knowledge, you know, okay, December, January is a rainy season in Malaysia because of the data that we have accumulated over the years. That's this knowledge. But how can that knowledge be beneficial? In the context of the 2 kinds of knowledge, beneficial and non-beneficial. So knowledge is this, the 3rd level. What is the 4th level? In Quran, Allah mentioned to Rasulullah SAW, we just have Rasulullah was sent to teach Al-Kitab and Hikmah. The 4th level is Hikmah. In English is wisdom, in Malay is kebijaksanaan. Al-Hikmah. So Allah says Al-Kitab and Al-Hikmah, not just Al-Kitab. How do we get Hikmah? My favorite example is from Sirah. Sometimes I try to, when I'm faced with a situation, I try to reflect, what would Rasulullah SAW do? How would Rasulullah solve this problem? I would try to imagine. And in order to do that, you have to know his sirah, right? So, in one occasion, there was a need for jihad, right? So, Rasulullah commanded people who are the able men to go out for jihad. And there were people who would come and ask for his opinion. So then, when one Sahaba came, said, Rasulullah, I know you have commanded us to go to jihad. I have a sick mother, and there's nobody else to take care of her. What should I do? Please decide. They never decide on their own. They come to Rasulullah. Right? The Sahaba. So, Rasulullah looked at him and said, okay, go and take care of your mother. You are excused from jihad. Right? If this is a court, this will be taken as a precedent case. Huh? You know precedent case? So any other future case like this, you should follow the same decision, right? Another Sahaba came, after some time, another Sahaba came. He said, Rasulullah, please excuse me. I cannot go and join jihad because I have to take care of my sick mother. Same case, right? Same case. So Rasulullah looked at the Sahaba and said, you go for jihad, Allah will take care of your mother. What is this? This is hikmah. But how do you know? How can you decide? Allah. In the case of Rasulullah, of course, he has guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our case, we have to use discretion and we have to use knowledge. And if possible, we should check the background, the circumstances, or the context. When this case was when I read about this case, the explanation given was, the first Sahaba, he was sincere. He really wanted to go for jihad. But then his mother was ill. Right? So he wasn't sure now. What should he do? So he went to Rasulullah to seek Rasulullah's opinion. And Rasulullah, Allah guided him, knew that. So his intention of going for jihad, Allah has accepted him. So, but his mother needed him. Right? So Rasulullah asked him to take care of it. The second person actually wanted to use his mother's sickness as an excuse not to go for jihad. See? Allah and His Rasul knows. So the medicine for him was to go for jihad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will arrange, well, not in logical ways we wouldn't be able to know, right? Allah will arrange in other ways that his mother will be taken care of. The same thing when Abu Bakr mentioned to Rasulullah SAW, what have you left with your family? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul. Okay? So al-hikmah is something that we acquire. So I hope you will try to learn, and you can acquire this with reflection. That's why I mentioned last time in thinking, the fifth type of thinking is reflective thinking. So when we read Sirah, when we read Quran is what, 70% stories? Why? Stories is history, is a history book. 70%. What for? For us to take lessons. For us to take lessons, short, right? Okay, so in Surah Al-Hujurat, I already mentioned earlier about the Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Okay, so the results of our knowledge is action. That's why, with knowledge we serve, to me is incomplete. Knowledge, action, service should be like this. In Malay, it should be berilmu, beramal, berbakti. Amal, right? So they miss out the amal. They only have ilmu and bhakti is service. You cannot forget about yourself. Allah SWT says in Surah As-Sab, do you ask people to do good deeds and you forget about yourself? And Allah is angry for people who do that. Aim of education, when we seek higher education especially, we are seeking for an increment in our taqwa and also in our attitude, skills and knowledge. Unfortunately, the present education system only addresses skills and knowledge, not even attitude. We have issues of people who are knowledgeable but their akhlaq is down the drain. We have people who are knowledgeable with good degrees but they do not have adab. You know what adab is? Adab is an Arabic word. They do not have their etiquette is not the correct translation for adab, but they are not respectful of the elders, you know. They think they are, when they get a PhD especially, they think they are top of the world. Nobody can advise them. And like this, you know. So, adab is not that. Whereas, if you look at the Sirah, even though this, knowledge must be based on amal. So, very important. Amal must be based on knowledge. Very important. Even the Sahaba, when Rasulullah SAW asked them to do something, they used to ask him, is this from Allah or is this from your opinion? They always used to ask him. But they asked him in a manner that is with adab. Right? So, and Rasulullah used to say, no, this is my opinion. So, do you want to give your opinion? Yeah, my opinion is like this. Because of this. And Rasulullah used to listen. That is a good leader. Right? He said, I am Rasulullah. No. Unless it is from Allah. Unless it is wahyu, like Hudaybiyah. Omar disagreed. And then Rasulullah said, this is wahyu from Allah. We would have disagreed as well. Because the terms were so lopsided, logically. But he said, this is from Allah SWT. And the Sahaba accepted. One more. Rasulullah, they were in ihram, and Rasulullah said, please remove your ihram and shave your hands. He gave the order. Everybody stood still. They were shocked. Then Rasulullah moved into his tent. And what happened? Anybody knows this story? Huh? Umm Salama said, Ya Rasulullah, you should show by example. So, Rasulullah opened his ihram and shaved his head, and the others have followed. leadership, by example. SubhanAllah. Beautiful. That is education. Many ways, many forms. Right? Life is a journey full of, we had this last time, right? we did a quiz, right? Right. So this is just a revision. Life is a journey full of opportunities, full of chances, full of options, full of choices. Alhamdulillah, Allah SWT gave us free will. This is one thing that Allah gave us. That is ours. You can say that the free will is yours. Right? And Allah says it's up to you what you want to choose. You can choose Iman, you can choose kufr. You can choose to do good, you can choose to do bad. This is the choice that Allah gave us. All other beings do not have this choice. Only jinn and men. That's why shaitan is jinn. Shaitan is not angel. Angels do not have choices. Right? So shaitan has a choice, and in fact he asked Allah SWT to delay his punishment until the day of judgment. Allah gave him. Why Allah gave him? Allah knows best. Right? But Allah tells us in many times in the Quran that shaitan, beware of shaitan. You can't see shaitan. Beware of shaitan. He is your enemy. Why? Because he declared us as his enemy. Allah evaluates. Please complete this sentence. I will give a prize. Please complete that sentence. Allah evaluates our iman and amal. It's a hanging sentence. Please complete it. I've written my answer here. If your answer is correct, I'll give you a prize. Yeah. Based on our intention. That's a good one. I think you should deserve a prize. It's almost... it's correct, right? It's correct. It's not the same as mine though. So, Allah evaluates our iman and amal. Complete the sentence. Based on niyyah, the same answer. Okay. Huh? Yes.
Not our looks.
Huh?
Not our looks.
Not our looks. Oh, that's good. Not our looks. Yeah. Allah does not look at your looks. He looks at your iman, right? But this is our evaluation. Allah evaluates our iman and amal. Yes. Individually. Oh yeah, right. Based on collective intention. Good. Right. What's this? It's not difficult actually.
Through our actions.
Through your actions. Amal is action. Based on taqwa. Based on taqwa. Taqwa is translated into iman and amal. Based on no, not based on knowledge. In that case, the ulama should get more. Yeah.
Based on amal salih.
Amal salih is amal. Oh.
Based on science, the intention.
Conscience. Alright, any more? Good. Ikhlas already given. Alright. I will just read what I wrote. Allah evaluates our iman and amal in the end. Or at the end. At the end. Right? You can be a good servant of Allah, and then on your final day, you kufr, you shirk, you will go to hell. You can be a sinner on the last day, you do tawbah, and you repent sincerely to Allah, you will go to Jannah. Allah evaluates action. So we shouldn't be very comfortable. We shouldn't take for granted, oh, I am good Muslim, I will be in heaven. You never know. That is why we always have to take care of our iman and amal. Always be on that. top of that, we enter heaven through the rahmah of Allah SWT. Never through our own deeds. If it's our own deeds, we do not deserve to go into heaven or Jannah. So we have to put things in perspective. That's why we should always humble ourselves before Allah SWT. Always ask from Allah. If possible, do not ask from human beings. From Allah we ask. From human beings, we from Allah we ask, from human beings we give. The same is the opposite. From Allah we receive actually. It is from Allah that we receive. The human beings are just the means. In Malay we call it sebab bersabab. It's just the means. Right? You ask Allah for risk, then Allah sends someone else to give you something. That is just the means. It is Allah who opens up people's hearts. Right? But our dua and the asking should be from us. We never know who is it that is going to help us. Right? Put it in perspective, right? Okay. Research journey. To be honest with you, this short session that we have is not enough for me to touch this topic. Right? So the need for patience and commitment. So I'll take a self-explanatory. Patience is sabr. Yeah, sabr. Sabr is patience, perseverance. If you open up the translation of Dr. Mohd Ali, patience means, or sabr, is not patience. It's patience, perseverance. You persevere in the patience, not just patience. Because being patient is just passive. You just patient, no? But persevere. Commitment. And also, talking about perseverance, in the long run, it is istiqamah. How do you sustain that journey? When I was in England for my PhD, I always heard this terminology of research, especially PhD, is entering into a dark tunnel, right? And not seeing the light. So you enter into a tunnel, you don't know where you are heading, right? You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So the image is hopelessness. I said, what? An image? Research is not about being hopeless. Research is about careful planning, scientific approach, getting things in place stage-wise, and having the results at the end. That is what I learned from the Japanese. As a rule, in Japan, people finish their PhDs in 3 years. In UK, 4 to 5 years. In Australia also the same thing. I think the worst thing is Australia and New Zealand. You submit your thesis, you go home. And then you will get a letter whether you pass or fail. To me, it's the worst thing that can happen. You can't even defend your thesis. Yeah, crazy. But that's the system. So we had a few of our staff who went to Australia and New Zealand who came back without their. At least in England, they allow you to defend. One of my friends is now a lecturer in MFI, Malaysia France Institute. He's the dean of the Malaysia France Institute, Professor Iskandar is his name. His viva was about 5 hours, if I'm not mistaken. From the afternoon until the night. But he passed. He really argued with the examiner. anyway, coming back to the issue of patience and perseverance. So I wish none of us here are in that predicament, are in that situation where you are in the tunnel and you do not know where to go and you cannot see the light and so on. To me, you should remove that kind of image. Research is about a planned journey. At least if you enter a tunnel, you can see the light. You know where to head to. It's just that how long you will get to the end. Some people maybe 3 years, some people 4 years or whatever, right? Okay, I want to share, because of time limitation, I will just share a few and then we will open up for question and answers as well. Research is research. Search, you have to search. So what is research? Research is search again. Of course. Search, the search component. The search is you are searching for what? What are you searching for? You are searching for? You're searching for? Come on, anyway. New knowledge? You're searching for? You're searching for? Answers to what? You are searching for? You are searching for the truth. Solutions. You are searching for the truth. Al-Haq. Okay? Full stop. Research is about searching for the truth. And the truth can come from anybody. It can come from the professor. It can come from the technician. It can come from the research assistant. It can come from the PhD student. When I did my PhD in Japan, every time I went to my supervisor, initially, for answers, right? I said, Sensei, until now I call him Sensei. Sensei, what do you think of this? What should I do? And you know what he told me? Usually he's working on his computer. He will look at me and said, I said, what do you think? I asked him his opinion, and he asked me, what do you think? So when I said, these things, and then he continued. Meaning to say, go away and think. Come back when you have thought about it. It was not plain sailing, right? Most of the students now, they would go to the supervisor and ask the supervisor for opinions, and then they will do what the supervisor says. So during the Viva, when they were asked, why did you do this experiment? What's the answer? My supervisor asked me to. So they are not trained to think. They are only trained to do the experiment. If I have a few occasions when I'm the examiner, when I detect that kind of person, I told him point blank. It has happened on a few occasions already. I'm examiners to students in USM, in UM, UKM, and so on, right? So such cases have happened. Don't let it happen to you. So I said, you're just like a technician. And we're not going to give PhD to technicians. Technician can do better than you. If I give some instructions for my technician to do, they will do better than any PhD student. They will do better than me even. Because they are doing it every day. Yeah. So if you want this data, get the technicians to do it. So what's the function of the PhD student? You are here to be trained to think, to plan, to do experiment, to make changes, right? To suggest new mechanisms, models, test out hypotheses, to write, to present, all of them. Otherwise, we have failed to train you. You see, knowledge is about transferring. Knowledge transfer to the next person and to the next person. And as long as you transfer the same knowledge, knowledge will not expand. There's a crazy, well, there is a true story. Tun Mahathir used to say this story. You know Tun Mahathir, right? He became prime minister. He was prime minister for 22 years in Malaysia. He's still living now. ex-Prime Minister. He used to give this example of knowledge in martial arts, Malay martial arts. It's called silat. You've seen people using the kris, sometimes with the kris, sometimes without the kris. It's called silat. Silat. It's like kung fu, but it's a Malaysian one. Silat. So they say if you have 10 techniques for silat, right, the silat teacher will only teach 9. The best technique he keeps for himself, because the student will only learn 9. And if the student tries to be funny, he will use the 10th technique to knock him out. Alright, so the student, after he graduated, he opens his class, then he teaches the next student. You will teach 8. You see? And the best one he keeps for himself. See? So, after a while, there's only one left. And we call it silat purut. The silat that they use during weddings. Just for show. Just for show. So, the knowledge will die. In this way, the knowledge will die. So, as a teacher, you should teach 10. Right? And you should teach not trying to keep anything for yourself, because this is knowledge, right? If you keep for yourself, you bring it to the grave and it dies. Okay, so I teach you 10. So you open up a class and you're going to teach him. You teach him 10, the knowledge continues. Never expand. But now we talk about innovation, right? So you learn 10 techniques from me. You develop your new techniques. Based on the knowledge that you have, you're still young, you can learn from other people as well. You see, maybe you can combine silat and karate, and you can develop a new technique, whatever. You do research, a little bit of research, right? You develop your own technique. So you have 11 now. So you will teach 11, right? He has the same thing. So you will now have 11, you develop 1 or 2 more, 12, 13 techniques, you teach 13 techniques. So the knowledge will expand. This is the culture of knowledge. There should be in the mind. So don't feel that the knowledge is yours. Somehow now we have this issue of patents, IPs, right? Knowledge is property. Yeah, maybe to a certain extent, because you can make money out of knowledge. Because government put in a lot of money grants, they want to see what is the output apart from students graduating, but they want to see some tangible monetary outputs, right? So you can sell technologies, right? So yeah, true, but you have to put it in perspective. As far as the student is concerned, the supervisor should teach, right? So you should not be stingy of your knowledge. You should be. This is the Islamic perspective of knowledge transfer, right? So that is a question of research, because when we do research, we are actually discovering the truth. We are not inventing anything. Well, as far as knowledge is concerned, but if it is product, we're inventing the product. Like a car, during the time of Rasulullah, there was no car. Now we have cars, we have aeroplanes, right? But the knowledge how to make aeroplanes is not an invention. Normally, we search and discover the knowledge, right? But the originator of knowledge is Allah. And Allah says, the knowledge that we have, that is given to us, is just like water. If you put a needle in the sea, and you take out the needle, the water that is at the end of the needle, that is the knowledge that we have. The knowledge that is with Allah is the whole sea. Right? So we just discover. And whatever knowledge that people have discovered, there is always new knowledge. When I started my first research project, talking about journey, right? I stumbled across a paper written by 2 Canadians. I can still remember because it was my first research project. I was given a funding from UPM, 3,000 ringgit. This is in 1982 or 81. 1982. I was given 3,000 ringgit research funding. I can't even employ a research assistant, so I use my undergraduate students and my technicians to do the research. This is, I came across a paper written by 2 Canadians, published on coconut milk powder. I don't know whether you're familiar with the area. Coconut milk powder, they use in curry in Malaysia. In curry, we use coconut milk. But coconut milk degrades very fast. Once you press it from the coconut, a few hours it will go sour. So you have to keep it in the fridge. So in the older days, even in my village, many people have fridges. So to make it last, just like milk, the idea was to powderize it. So milk powder can last long, right? So then you just add water and it's milk. So I thought the same thing, why? We can make coconut milk into powder, and then when we want to use the coconut milk for cooking, we just add water, right? But there was, when I searched the literature, there was one paper published by 2 Canadian researchers. They say it is impossible to make coconut milk powder. They tried it, they can't. So they say it's impossible. Now, to a scientist, don't say it's impossible. If you say it's impossible, you are actually putting a challenge. So, because who are you? You are not God to say it's impossible. Yeah, because the truth is out there, you do not know it. Just because you do not know it, don't say it's impossible. You fail, fine, other people might succeed. So, if you say, so far, we have not succeeded, that is fine. So I said, oh, how come it's impossible? I want to do my research on this. So we developed a research project. We tried to remove the water by heat. What we got was coconut oil. Just what the Canadians got. So it's impossible, right? Then it occurred to me, we have coffee creamers, right? Coffee creamer is a cream, but how come it's a powder? Right? So what do they put in coffee creamers? So when you put a creamer, it's just like you're putting milk, right? It's equivalent. Huh? It's not milk, but it's equivalent. So they actually put other things in there. Food additives, actually food. They put maltodextrin, huh? And also they put maltodextrin and skim milk. Skim milk, two components and other components. So mainly. So I said, okay, on its own, by itself, if you try to heat coconut milk, you will get coconut oil. That's how they produce coconut oil by the way, in the village. So, but if you add these other components, small amounts, not big amounts, we tried that. After a year or so, we produced coconut milk oil, and we published. So, just want to share with you, that is research, right? So, the truth is out there. You do not know who will achieve it, who will get it, right? But just by doing a search, you will get some information, and you can actually identify the gaps. What are the gaps? For example, another example is in terms of technologies, right? The Japanese are very good in copying technologies, and now the Chinese are very good in copying technologies. They see a machine, they will produce something exactly like that, but 1/10 of the cost, because they do not need to pay for all the R&D costs, right? We just copy. That's why we have patent or intellectual property protection. But the Japanese did one more. They copied and then they improved. Example, television. So, when I went to Japan, I was fascinated with the Japanese. I said, you have fantastic technologies. Then I was told by the professors there, they told me, they said, actually the base technology are from Europe and US. The basic technology. What the Japanese did was just improved a little bit. They give you an example. TV technology. Television technology was from Europe. What the Japanese did was make it color. So, when you have color TV, who wants black and white? right? And then this big size TV, right? People have to go on and off. They made remote control. Just simple improvement. So when you have remote control TV, everybody will buy remote control TV. And then they go for flat screen and so on. You know? It's just, right. So have you seen the old TV? Very long cable tubes and so on. So when you have flat screens, who will buy those TV? Automatically go out of business. Right. So that is research. You keep on improving. Interesting, eh? So you identify the gaps, and sometimes when you talk about consumer products, it is what the consumer need that is the gap. Now, if you see, I'll give you another example of handphones. Handphones is easy for people to understand. A couple of years ago, the leader of the market was Nokia. And the CEO of Nokia was so confident that they will continue to be the market leader for a long time. And he even said, they make a new model every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks they come up with a new model. So they know what the customer wants, they come with. They have so many models. And he said, he has, for the next 6 months, they already have the model. For the next 6 months, not every 2 weeks. So they have 12 models on the production line already. So confident. Then came Samsung and iPhone. Where is Nokia now? What was the problem with Nokia? Well, some people still buy Nokia actually, right? Because they have to sell at very cheap price for a very small margin to just survive. Yeah, now maybe the latest one they sell to Microsoft. And Microsoft bought Nokia not for the models, they bought Nokia for what? What is it that they buy? Why is it that they want from Nokia? They just want the IPs. Because IP protection is 20 years. Right? Same like Siri technology. Eh? Those of you who are using iPhone, Siri technology. In fact, Siri was developed from Stanford University. Okay? So they developed it for all platforms, including Android. But then, Apple bought the technology for 200 million USD. And it was a sole buyer. They were the sole buyer. So now, nobody else can touch Siri technology. Worse still, just talking about knowledge, worse still, there are some companies who buy technologies and they just put it in cold freeze. If they think that your technology is competitive to them, they will buy it from you. They will pay whatever price you want. You will buy it and put it in the cold freezer. Nobody can touch it. You got your money already, right? Those are unethical practices of the business world. Anyway, we're not in the business world, we are in the research world. So, ask the big questions. The big questions are usually the W's and the H's. Maybe I've covered this one. Right? Who, did, what, when, where, how. Why? That's the common question that we ask. What else? So, who did, who did, what, when, where, how? Wait, what else? Huh? Why? When? What? What are the big questions? What are the big questions? Those are the small questions. Or what other questions can you ask in terms of research? You know right now? Okay, today I'm going to share you 2 more questions. I hope you will implement this in your research. We learn to ask why. especially when we were children. When we were children, when we stopped to do certain things, we ask why, right? Or if we stop to do certain things, we ask. We ask. Don't we? Why not? Don't play outside. Why not? See, we always challenge. Huh? Oh, because it's raining. So what? Oh, you will get sick. Then okay, we understand. Right. So it's always inquisitiveness. Huh? Inquisitiveness. Another one is we ask how, and in research, it's not just how. It is.
Obvious.
How else? How else? So people do one kind of methodology. You say, how else can it be done? Why should you just follow the methodology? Can you make it faster? Can you make it cheaper? Can you make it more efficient? Those are the research questions. One of my students, he works with Ajinomoto now. He said his boss asked him to improve the yield of a process, biotechnology process, from 96% to 97%. 96% yield they have. Wow, fantastic, right? His boss gave him an assignment to increase it to by 1% only. 96% to 97%. And I said, well, in my mind I said, so what? You know? But I didn't say that thing. I said, what is the significance? 1% increment? He said, yeah, that 1% increment is a few millions in profit. So, his research task was just to increase by 1%. How should he achieve it? Do the research. Okay. Understand the scientific approach. I put great importance on the scientific approach. Because research is not just about trial and error. Research, as I said, is a planned journey. You do this experiment. We had a collaboration with MIT. On bioplastics project, we had one collaboration with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We went there a few times. They came over a few times. We have joint research collaboration. So I overheard the professor at MIT mentioning to his postdoc, or asking his postdoc, what is the research that we should design? What is the experiment? What is the experiment that we should design to get this particular data for this particular graph in this particular paper? I forgot the details. I just remember the storyline, right? So he asked his postdoc to propose an experiment that they should carry out to get a particular data for a particular table for that paper that they want to publish. I don't know whether you understand the significance here. So they don't just do any experiment. They plan the experiment. And they know what they want to achieve. So those are the big gaps you can learn from. When I gave my presentation, we had a workshop. They presented and I presented. When I presented, the professor was sitting in front with his postdoc and PhD student. This big professor from MIT, Anthony Sinsky, his name. He's still serving. And I was presenting. So when I finished presenting, I was packing my stuff. I overheard him saying to his postdoc, Chris, what did you learn from that? He was asking his postdoc what he learned from my speech. Who are we compared to MIT professors? I mean, in terms of standards and ranking and so on. But they still develop the culture of okay. Alright. Understand the research ecosystem. I can go for 1 hour on that topic alone. But in terms of the current scenario, we are a research university in UPM. So we put a great emphasis on output. Okay? And now it's not just about output, it is about impact. We have in our learning, someone asked me about learning. What was it? Another audience earlier. This is my second talk to this. We have, okay, maybe I should draw this to make it clearer. We have a process, right? If this is your process, we have inputs, right? Okay. Many kinds of input, and we have outputs. So, if you're talking about research, if this is about research, the inputs will be grants, students, right? Of course, supervisors and their trainings, and so on. We need to have labs, we need to have equipment, and so on and so on, right? So many, right? So the process is the PhD study, and then you've got your output, which is the graduates. For that, you should have publications or papers, and so on, right? And to the professors, it's promotion. And so on, right? So this is your 3 to 4 years or whatever, yeah? Supervisory process. So that's the ecosystem. Now, that's the simplest ecosystem. But how do you make it work in a research intensive environment? One strategy is to go for a win-win. Win strategy. Anybody of you who reads Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, I recommend you to read his books. Quite good book. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Right? Win-win is one of the habits. It's habit number 4. So what is win-win? To me, in this ecosystem, what is most important is GOT. Graduates or graduation on time. Graduates need to, you as a student, need to graduate on time. That is the most important criteria, in my opinion. If you or if your supervisor put in the system that the students should graduate on time, I use the Japanese as the benchmark because I went through the system. And I tried to implement that to my students, although we are not 100% successful, but we try. So, get the students to graduate on time. In order for them to graduate on time, in case of UPM, you need to have 2 publications. So the professor, as my professor did, he said, I will help you. The professor must help the student to get the papers. Although, in terms of ownership of the publications, it is actually the student. Because the professors can have 10 students. If 9 of them graduate on time and 1 doesn't graduate on time, the university will not punish him. It is the student who will suffer most. So, but anyway, as a team, you should propose. What is team? I think we covered this as well. Team is what? Huh? What is the meaning of team? What's the meaning of team? Hello? Huh? Research is about team effort. Research is not a one-person effort. Very rarely. Very, very rarely. Even Edison, he has his technician. Huh? Right? Sir Edmund Hillary, who went to Everest, he had his guy. It's always a team effort. It's never one person. And if you look at the successful leaders, there's always support from behind. Right? It's always not a single effort. Rasulullah SAW had his Sahaba. And this is what Allah SWT wants to show us. You have to work as a team. So, what is the meaning of team? At least here you have your supervisors, co-supervisors, and yourself. And your lab mates. These are all your team members. What is the meaning of team? Did I say you should Google? Did I say that? Did I say you should Google? No. Yeah. Notice he said, yeah, feel it. Unless you are told, do not Google, then you can. What is the meaning of team? Go on, Google. What is the meaning of team? I hope you will remember this. What is the meaning of team? Together, everybody achieves more. Congratulations. I hope you will not forget that. Together, everybody achieves more. I think we have covered this. T-E-A-M. Together, everybody or everyone achieves more. So, nobody loses. It's a win-win. This is the concept of team. Last time I also went on to say that the best team in the world is
Improvement.
that is the biggest space in the world. It's the biggest room. The best team in the world is husband and wife. Husband and wife is the best team in the world. But don't make it more wives, just one husband and one wife. If you have more than one, you're in trouble.
Malaysian factor.
Okay, we talk about Sunnatullah. Sunnatullah. What is Sunnatullah? Sunnatullah is the way of Allah. This word is used by Allah SWT himself. The Sunnatullah. Allah created the laws of nature. We call laws of nature. Actually, it's created by Allah SWT, gravity and so on. This is Sunnatullah. If you take the effort, you will sow the reward. That is Sunnatullah. Even the kuffars, who make the effort, they get the reward in this world. That's Sunnatullah. Right? So, if you keep on searching, you will find that person. If you keep on searching, you'll find a person. You didn't get that, right? So, if you keep on searching, you'll find the right person. You'll find the right answer. You mentioned about answers, right? So, research is about, even though it is planned, it is not something that you can guarantee. But, why is it that people in Japan finish their PhD in 3 years? It's so predictable. One of the factors is they work very hard. They work very, very hard. In some cases, they even sleep in the lab. Not only the students. In some cases, even the professors sleep in the lab. And a common occurrence in Japan is that the professor's room is just beside the lab. In many cases, you have got to enter the lab and go to his room. Right? So he comes in the morning at 9, all the students should be there. He goes back at 5 or 6, all the students are still there. If they need to go back early, they get his permission. When I was doing my PhD, we had a weekly progress meeting. At that time, his research group was about 10 students. I was one of them. Every week we had to present our progress to him. Although he was busy, he made it a point. If you cannot make this that day, he changed another day. Right? And we cannot say, oh, I cannot come on that day because I have to fetch my son or no excuses. You solve yourself. They do not want to hear excuses. So that's the other side of the Japanese culture. On one occasion, this is not my supervisor, somebody else's supervisor. The student wrote a report, a paper, gave to the supervisor, right, during the meeting. So he took the report, He threw the report on the face of the student. Rubbish. That's the system. Whether we can survive that system, but the students do it. Okay, so it's not just a rosy picture. I'm trying to put it as a balance. Yeah. They work really, really hard. And especially if you are given a scholarship from the Japanese government. They really squeeze you. I was really lucky because I was not sponsored by that. But still, he wanted 3 papers from me. Right? But alhamdulillah, I was happy doing it. We got 5. So, due to time limitation, maybe I should go on, right? Or you want to ask any questions? This is the main topic of the day, research journey. So, maybe you can ask some questions. So, first of all, okay, one more thing. Well, you're thinking. I learned from my PhD study. Divide your time in 3 sections, 3 equal sections. Divide your time into 3. Right? Okay, so, show in graphical form. Divide your time into 3. Yeah? The first one is reading. You should read. Search. You should read, you should go to seminars, you should email people and so on. And you should get to know the experts in your area. Who are the top professors in your area in the world? You should know them by name. And if possible, go to the conferences that they are presenting. Get to know them in person. Because most probably, they are going to become your examiners. That's true. If they know you, half of the work is done. Especially if they have listened to your seminars. You are almost halfway there. Right. So, first part, 1/3 of your time is reading, gathering information. Second part, gathering information and also second part is the planning. So this is reading, then planning. Okay. How to plan, what methods you want to use, what experiments you want to do, right? And then, once you get the data, is writing. Most students doing the experiment and writing, experimental and writing together. If you find that is difficult, I have developed a new one now. Just divide it into 2. What is reading, planning, and writing? The other one is experiment. Because I discovered that a lot of our students like to do experiment. They really enjoy doing experiment. And they get very happy having a lot of data. And the end you say, so what? Having a lot of data does not guarantee you a PhD. You should, what you should do was like what I said earlier. Yeah? What experiments do you need to do to get what kind of data, for what kind of graph or table, for what kind of paper? So I started off with all my students, make the proposal and make the objective. Right? Each objective should be translatable into a paper. That is our group's compulsory agenda. So if you have one objective, for a master student 1 or 2 objectives, 1 or 2 papers. For a PhD, 2 or 3 objectives, 2 or 3 papers. So the students ask me, what if my objectives cannot become a paper? So what is my answer? If your objective cannot become a paper, your objective should be something, the title of your paper should be the objective. Right. So once you have your objective, you know what paper you want to publish, right? Then you know what kind of data that you need. Then you know what kind of experiments you should do. Okay? So you are guided. that way. So if your objective cannot become your paper, if they ask me, change your objective. So simple. So I spend a lot of time with my students correcting the objectives. But it's not fixed, it's not Quran. Right? So we can change along the way. But at least I want them to have a guide. There is the light at the end of the tunnel. See? Otherwise they just grouping, do this, do that, do this, and then they got a lot of data. Say, how am I going to write a paper on this one? Any questions? Maybe your journey is slightly different from mine, so maybe you want to ask specific questions relating to your whole circumstances. Go on. I had two kind of experience, right? So I was given this false impression that I was doing okay, until at the end, during the Viva, the examiners were not happy with my thesis, and my supervisor couldn't defend me when I was in Birmingham. So if you see my CV, Birmingham is MPhil. I had a master's earlier from Leeds, so I didn't need MPhil anymore. But as I said, this is all history. I was what has arranged it. So, but that is not the end. A failure is not the end unless you decide so. So once you fall, you have the option to stand up again. If you decide, oh, this is my destiny, what can I do? So you will not rise up again. Do you know the destiny? You never know. Allah only knows. You are there to take action. Any questions? So I think none of you are in as bad a situation as I was, right? No. I pray to Allah that none of you will be in my situation. But alhamdulillah, Allah gave me risk in other forms, so I could still progress in my career. Yes?
Is in a situation where maybe you and your supervisor how do you make down, and he doesn't want to give you a chance, for instance, to go and think about it.
He doesn't want to give you a chance to
Just like that. Then how do you...
you should send it to me. That's a very strange supervisor. I would really encourage supervisors to do that. When I was in Buckingham, this top professor, his name is John Rambo, he wrote a book on process engineering. He told us, there was one of his PhD students who never came to the lab. So we were so surprised, you know. And he said, he told us, when we started asking, he said, that student, he is doing modeling. So he asked the permission from the supervisor to do the modeling at home. So every now and again, he will update the professor on his progress. So he said, okay, I allow him to do that. And yes, he published a theory on bubble theory. It's a theory now. But he work at home, you know, when he feels like it, he will go to the computer, whatever, and then he will sleep. And it's one time, never come to the lab. So, as research, you should encourage this kind of activities to a certain extent, because as long as they produce results, so it's okay. That's why, even in my case now, I never insist that my students must come at 8 and they should leave at 5. They can come at 10 and leave at 4, whatever. Doesn't matter. But once a month, we ask them to present. I couldn't do it once a week. When I was in Japan, I have once a week. Here, I tried to do once a week. They come next week and say, oh, we couldn't even finish the experiment. Because in Japan, they have 3 HPLCs in one lab. Here, one whole department has 2 HPLCs. So, I said, no, it's too short. So we have once a month. So every month, everybody must present. So I give them the freedom. They can come whenever they want. They can come on the weekend. They can come at night. It's up to them. As long as they get the data. Yes. Sorry, I haven't finished the question. So the answer. So you should try to educate your supervisor. No, in a way, I had a very good supervisor in the professor from Japan. So because he asked me to think. And he even told me, he said, Alizan, you are going to be more expert in bioplastics than me. Yeah, because you are going to get your PhD in this area. When you get your PhD, you are more expert than me, he said. So I asked my students. So those who do biochar under me, I have a few projects, one of those biochar. But one student just submitted, just passed. I told him, Jeffrey, you are now more expert in biochar than me, although I am in supervisor. Yeah, but I just supervised him. He actually did the research. So you should encourage, and if you can do well in your research, it will contribute to his progress. You are not undermining him. Or is it her? I'm not sure. I'm not able to answer fully, but some points. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Prof. I learned that in UPM they have two policies with regard to graduation.
Two
policies. Is it policies or mode of graduation?
Two policies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I call it policy or mode?
Mode.
For
The alternative thesis. Format. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes. Graduation by thesis or by publication. Please, Prof, can you share with us advantage and disadvantage?
Yeah. Okay, good question. There are two kinds of formatting for PhD or master's thesis. One is a compilation of papers. Now, they followed some universities, including in Japan. In Japan, most universities just compile the papers. Also in Europe, some Europe. I was in Holland. They actually just compile the papers. So the thesis is just a summary of the papers. So if you look at my thesis, first chapter is introduction, second chapter is first paper, third chapter is second paper, and so on. And then last chapter is conclusion. So when you have all your papers, writing the thesis is a piece of cake. I just took a month or so to compile the thesis. Because everything is there already. Right? Here in UPM, my thesis is only that thick. I should have brought my thesis up. It's only that thick, 5 papers. In UPM, it's that thick. I don't know who will read that thesis. Except for the examiners who have to read it. It's not functional. Right? People are more interested in your papers than your thesis. Right? So UPM has now got that in place. Unfortunately, I was told they need a comprehensive literature review still. So it makes your work more difficult. Yeah. In the paper, the literature review is very short. In fact, they limit the literature review. But in a conventional thesis, we inherited this from the British. You must have a chapter on literature review, which is the thickest chapter in your thesis. Therefore, so in that case, I suggest you write a review paper. You write a review paper. So your review paper is actually the literature review. But that is not considered as the 2 papers of graduation. Yeah, the 2 papers of graduation are your technical papers, not review papers. Yes, okay? Yeah, you're right.
Which do you recommend among those?
It's between you and your supervisor. I recommended to my students to follow the alternative format, but they discovered that it's too much of a work. You need to do almost like the same thesis. The policy is not very well thought of. Anybody else?
Yeah, we should be stopping here. I want to ask, during Bible, if one encounter an examiner that doesn't understand the method or the approach one uses in his experiment, right, and they were trying to give you another thing, that maybe you should have done it this way, it would have been better. But you that did the work know quite all right that what you did is correct. So in that kind of a situation, how do you expect a student should react?
Good. An examiner, there are 3 examiners.
Okay, so,
Yes?
maybe my question is not complete.
Okay, right.
Okay, because generally based on what I learned from Malay, that you don't argue with your examiner. Because if you argue with them, then maybe you have a slap. So now in that kind of a situation whereby they were trying to give you, maybe you have to repeat your experiment, or maybe they were trying to, try to rubbish your work. So in that kind of situation, you become aggressive. And naturally, you shouldn't.
I have this in my next slide. The answer is in my next slide.
All right.
Okay, shall I go on? Because we need to finish on time, right? Last slide. Uh-oh. It's gone up. Last slide. Managing yourself. Right? We talk a lot about the supervisor. Now it's about yourself. Okay. We have 3 relationships. Relationship with Allah, relationship with Hamlu min Allah, and Hamlu min Nas. Where is the third relationship? Hello. Third relationship is with yourself. Right? Hamlu min Nas. So we have 3 relationships. You need to take care of all those 3. We have 5 elements I mentioned to you, 5 elements plus, right? In ourselves. Manage your ego and your ego. Usually, generally speaking, although it's not 100%, generally speaking, with men, you have to take care of your ego, right? Ego. So men are egoistic. For example, your father, right? So you cannot say to your father, "You're wrong." For example, right? But with women, it's actually the ego, the emotions. So you need to take care of that. So for example, if it's your wife's birthday, you said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she said, "Oh, no need, no need. I don't need anything." Actually, she wants something. But she wants you to, not by asking, she wants you to give it out of your love to her. So this is what men don't understand. So it's the ego, right? So you can be argumentative, but you should never ever lose your you should never lose your anger. You should never be angry. This is your cool. And there's a hadith. Rasulullah said, somebody came for advice. Rasulullah said, La taghdab, la taghdab, la taghdab. 3 times. Don't be angry. Don't be angry. So it is okay. You can smile and argue. There is a skill you need to develop from now on. So this is what I meant about adab. The Sahaba, they disagree with Rasulullah, but they do it in a polite way. Say, "Excuse me, sir, I have a different opinion." "What? I've done this to you, you think it's all rubbish?" No, you must. You see, there are different opinions, and I am of this opinion, and so on. There are ways of doing this. This is human skills. But you should never lose your temper. One other thing is with the examiners, right? Even with your supervisor, if in the end he insists, you must follow him. Because you are a student. It's just like your parents. You disagree, you mention your views. In the end, if they insist, you just have to agree and tawakal Allah. I've been through what you've been. You will be in my position later on. You will have your students. But usually, trust me, usually the hikmah, the professor has, or the supervisor has more hikmah than you. So in that case, you have to manage your ego. Because you think your opinion is better than his, right? But you are under supervision. I have a case, very clever student. He wants to try so many things. I said, "Come on, you are not going to be able to finish on time." It's okay. He said, "It's okay. I will support myself. I just want to, it's inquisitive mind of mine. I want to study so many things." He said, "All right, you can do that after you graduate from here. While you are here, you do this. I have to put my feet down." Now he graduated, and after he knows what's Okay, that's my answer. Any other? So make the right choices. Okay, we are very short for time. So it's Maghrib soon. In the end, we go for Rahmah and Barakah. Rahmah and Barakah, for example, make dua to Allah SWT to guide us in our research. Make Salatul Hajjah. I make Salatul Hajjah for my students when they want to go for their Bible. Do it for your friends. Do it for yourself. You know, get the help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we are just. I do microbiology a little bit for biotechnology. We used to search for good microbes. Good microbes that can produce bioplastics. We just go and screen for everywhere. It's just, in science, it's just luck. But you say Bismillah, you do Salat al-Hajjah, you may get those much easier. Because you have the help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not just our effort. So I have maybe consumed my time. I'm sorry if I did not meet your expectation. You have to call me again. Okay. So I'm happy to help any of you in any other way. You can also come and see me. Last time when it's hard to see me on this, I said, why don't you open up? I can share with a lot more of my friends. So grace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever is meant from my weaknesses, and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I may know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all of us in our career, in our lives. So that in the bigger journey, not this research journey, in the bigger journey, we will have success. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. الله أعلم. وعلى آله وسلم.
Inshallah, we come to the end of the program. As usual, the weekly Quran and Arabic class will continue here, while monthly, we continue to invite some other speakers for the monthly lecture. Thank everybody, and for those who are yet to submit their emails, should do so with the secretary, so that you can receive emails, message of this program through the emails. Thank everybody for coming. So,